Assalamualaikum. Halo sobat pembelajar. Welcome back to my channel, channel Afrianto Daud, channel for teaching, learning, and sharing. Baik sobat pembelajar, kali ini kita akan mewawancarai dua teman saya, satu seorang pendidik di Australia, Bapak Peter yang sehari-hari mengajar di Deakin University. Nah, nanti pada segmen berikutnya ada teman saya yang juga mengajar di Chili, ya, lumayan jauh ya dari Indonesia. Nah, segmen ini ingin melihat bagaimana kisah proses pembelajaran di negara lain. Ya, kalau di Indonesia sudah kita sama-sama tahu, tapi bagaimana dengan Australia, bagaimana dengan Chili, ya, sebagai dua negara yang agak berbeda dengan Indonesia. Okay, Pak Peter again. Thank you for your availability to attend or to be with us in my channel, Afrianto Daud channel. I'm really feeling honored that you are here now. Can you please introduce yourself a little bit to us, please?
Yes, certainly. Thank you so much for the invitation to join you.
Thank you.
It's nice to be here and speak with you.
Thank you.
Yes, as you said, I'm Peter Waterworth, live in Australia, in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm from Deakin University, retired from Deakin University, but still do a little bit of work.
All right.
With them and also academically.
Okay, thank you, Pak Peter. So everyone, Pak Peter actually has been so familiar with Indonesia. I've been working with Pak Peter in some projects. So he knows Indonesia quite well and has been to Indonesia several times, is it right, Pak Peter? And
yes, certainly. I don't know how many times now. I can't count those times.
Okay. And Pak Peter has also been to our university in Riau University. Okay,
Yeah.
Pak Peter. Today we are going to discuss about education during COVID-19 in Australia. So can you please tell us a bit about Australia in general in terms of COVID? How is Australia in general in terms of COVID at the moment?
Yes, certainly. Yeah. Well, we have had infections in Australia. We've had the pandemic here.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not as severe here as in other places, but it's still been very dislocating. It's changed the way in which we approach many things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Education, shopping, business, the economy, so many things
Mm-hmm.
have been affected. Melbourne has been particularly badly affected.
Okay.
The worst city in Australia.
How many cases at the moment?
Oh, at the moment, around about 65 cases in Melbourne.
65, and that's the worst for you. 65. We have about 60,000 here. Okay.
Well, that's very different.
Yeah, very different. Okay. Now, how about in terms of education? How is education running in Australia at the moment?
Yes, well, one thing that we're very worried about is transmission, and they've been studying the ways in which transmission is increased or decreased.
Mm-hmm.
For example, amongst younger children, initially we thought
Mm-hmm.
the transmission is very low rate of transmission.
Mm-hmm.
But for older students,
yeah,
it's a little bit more serious. But for the older demographic in the Australian community, they are the ones who are in the greatest danger. However, we've had no deaths in Australia from COVID for, 6 months maybe.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe even longer than that. So there are infections, and the infections are supposed to be pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're still worrying about lockdowns. We are currently in lockdown in Melbourne. Have been for the last about 8 days, and it will go until next Friday. And then they'll review again whether they lift that lockdown. And in this lockdown, there's no school.
No school.
Is not. No school, no university.
So how
No
is
shopping.
how is the teaching and learning process? Is it now doing online?
Yes, it is online, which means that it's an extra burden on parents. They have to help their children
Yeah.
to to struggle through in whatever way they can. I think they're currently allowing secondary school students to go back to school. Yeah, I think that's right. From last Friday, secondary school students were allowed to go back to school, but they've got to wear masks in school, in classes, and the teachers all have to wear masks.
Okay. So not all students are now at home. So some students are still allowed to go to school.
Secondary
are allowed.
Yeah.
Okay. But
they're allowed at school.
But before Melbourne has actually opened their school for every level of student, is it right?
Yes, we have had. Yes, during the pandemic, it has gone up and down. It depends on how serious the infections are.
Okay.
But the government will announce a lockdown or certain restrictions, and they will come in force at midnight that particular night. So they're very quick in giving an instruction.
All right, talking about online learning, as far as you're concerned, in Indonesia, we got a lot of problem in online learning, like network problem. Most students think that the online learning is not that effective. What do you think about online learning in Australia, especially in Melbourne? Do you hear the same problems?
Yes, they do. They have the same problems. I think maybe the networks may be a little bit more secure here in Australia than they would be in Indonesia. But there are still problems. There are technical problems for the students in getting connected, maybe in following through, especially the younger ones. Some students love online learning.
Okay.
They love to be quiet. They love to be on their own. They like to be studying, focusing entirely on their studies. Others hate it altogether. They do not like to be confined. They don't like to. They would rather have people around them to, fire their ideas off other people.
Okay.
So it varies from child to child. Some love it, some hate it.
Okay. Are you saying that actually some student or few students in Australia also have connection problem?
Yes, some of them do, but not very many.
Not
very many.
Okay.
They seem to have overcome that. Teachers are far better now at managing. For example, they give them deadlines. For example, my grandson was doing a test and he was not allowed to look up Google or anything like that, or to look up any.
Which is actually not easy.
Not easy to do. So
students are easy to go to Google.
So what the school did was they gave them a deadline of time by which it must be completed. They opened the connection. Then he had to sit down and do it at that time, and then within 4 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it was, then they would close it down. He couldn't do anything more in that particular task. So they controlled it in some ways.
All right. Now come back to the Australian government, because as I think many people now know that Australia is one of countries in the world that can be said relatively successful in dealing with COVID-19. Can you please tell us what the Australian government actually has been doing in managing and in dealing with this pandemic?
Yes, it may be similar to what's happening in Indonesia, actually. We are not allowed to leave home at the moment if we are in lockdown. There are 5 reasons that you can leave home. Number 1, if you have to go to work, if you can't do work from home or school from home. Number 2, if you have to go to the doctor. Number 3, if you have to buy essential food.
For example,
number 4,
what do you consider essential in Australia?
Essential food, that is, you can't go to the shopping mall and just do shopping.
Okay.
Only a supermarket will be open. And the 5th one, you can go for getting the vaccination.
What is that?
And so to get the vaccination, if you are going out to
vaccination. Okay.
You cannot go more than 10 kilometers from your home.
Okay. What about if you go? how about if you go more than 10 kilometers? What's going to happen?
Well, if you get caught by the police,
Yeah.
then you'll get a fine.
Fine. How much?
About $250.
$250. Is that not too?
You'll be better at working that out than me.
Yeah, it's going to be around 2.5 million rupiah in Indonesia. That's a big money.
Yes.
Okay,
that's
interesting.
right, yes.
That's what we don't have in Indonesia so far.
No.
Okay.
So the police can stop you if you're driving your car. They can stop you and they can say, why? Why are you out? Why are you driving? If they want to know where is your home, and they'll work out, are you more than 10 kilometers from your home? If you're outside that area, you'll have to have a certificate to say that you are required to do work in a particular place, for example. If you don't have a certificate, you'll get the fine.
So you must have the certificate then to be eligible.
That's right, from your boss. That's if you're a worker.
Okay. How about university student? Are they going to university during lockdown or not?
No, they're not. No,
They're not.
They're all in lockdown at the moment. So all learning at university is online.
Online. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Until the government.
Universities have worked very well at organising their teaching online. They use a lot of resources. They use a lot of media. They know how to get materials to their students.
Okay.
They're pretty good on assessment as well, as I was saying before. And those kinds of things, they're particularly good at doing it. Probably the same as in Indonesia.
There are some problems still with us because we are still at the beginning of being online actually in some universities.
Okay.
Few universities has been doing that, but for some other universities, this is something new for us. Okay, my last question, Pak Peter. What do you suggest to all of us at the moment in terms of education? How we can maintain quality in our education during there are many limitations because of COVID-19?
Okay. Well, there are quite a few things that you can do. I think motivation is one of the most difficult things. I think we are having problems in Australia with mental health. People isolated. They're not able to go and see their family if their family lives a long way from them. If someone is sick, for example, they can't go and visit them. They can't go. We're not allowed to visit hospitals, for example. So anyone who's in hospital. So mental health is something that we've really got to work on, I think. Trying to give people opportunities for meeting online, Zoom, for example. We're allowed to have up to 5 people in our home at any one time. Up to 5 people. We must be socially distanced. That's 1.5 meters apart. We cannot share food from the same container, for example. It should be individual portions and things like that. But it is still a great idea to have people coming and visiting you at home, or meet them outside, meet them in a park or something like that. I think it's very important to do that.
With some health protocols applied,
Yeah, that's right. As long as we do follow the rules, and it's reasonably easy to follow the rules. Secondly, I think we need to be informed about this disease, about this infection, pandemic. We need to know what causes the spread. We need to be aware of our own health. We need to be aware if we've got a fever or if we've got a runny nose or a cough or something like that. We should be constantly aware of that. And it's important to go and get tested if at all possible. Another thing I think is we've got to realise that we're going to come out of this. We've got to have a bright spirit, a hopeful spirit,
optimistic.
That we will achieve, that we will continue on. There are some benefits. For example, people have more money in the bank now in Australia than they've ever had before. Because they can't spend it.
We don't have time to spend it.
That's right.
But at the same time, some people can't have a job. They lose their job during pandemic.
That's right. Yes, the government has provided special assistance to people who can't work.
All right.
And so they get provided with some kind of an allowance, pocket money of some kind.
Oh, that's good.
And this has been very helpful.
All right. All right. Thank you, Pak Peter, again for a nice conversation and for very informative information from you from Australia.
Okay.
So stay healthy.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, and you too.
Thank you very much for your time. Okay.
Pleasure. And hi to all of the people who are watching. Great to see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Pak Peter. Bye-bye.
Halo sobat pembelajar, ya demikian percakapan atau diskusi dan juga mungkin wawancara singkat kita dengan Pak Peter dari Australia. Tambahan informasi tentang bagaimana kondisi pendidikan di negara lain. Semoga bermanfaat ya. Terima kasih tetap menonton channel ini. Sampai jumpa lagi dalam video-video berikutnya. Assalamualaikum.